we scroll, we post, we chase the next big thing. But what if the real magic isn't in creating more content, but in creating more contentment? In a world that's always pushing forward, my next guest says the greatest power move is to slow down and to savor what we already have. Today we're flipping the script from content creators to content creators and discovering simple, creative ways to feel more peace and joy right where we are. Cami Packer is so intentional about this, and she's here to share 5 thoughtful ideas to help you cultivate contentment in your heart and home. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I am your eager student because, as I said, you are someone who sets out and seeks this in a very intentional way, and you're a believer in the power of contentment.
I do. I believe it's the only real wealth we can have. And it's not putting on rose-colored glasses and pretending life is perfect. It's not requiring life to be perfect in order to enjoy it.
Contentment, I was telling you during the commercial break, has a prominent place in our family mission statement.
Yeah.
One of the 8 lines that we try as a family to memorize and implement is we find joy and contentment in everyday moments. And on my wedding day, I told you this story as well, I think, and shared it on a podcast recently, but on our wedding day, Mark had this moment where he said, I feel so, and I was waiting for like, lucky, blessed, happy. And he said, I feel so content. And I think in the moment, I was like, that's all you got? But now I look back on that, and as you say, it's the only true wealth. I feel that now. Contentment is really a gift.
It is a gift, yeah.
You have ways we can implement this in all areas of our life. Let's start where it matters the most, at home.
Okay, yes, I think making our house a home is the best way to cultivate that contentment. My favorite inspiration for that is the Little House books.
Yes.
And I know you love those too.
Yes,
and they
do.
just, the Ingalls family, their little log cabin with dirt floors and a quilt on the door, that was the center of their world for them.
And if Laura can be happy about a corncob doll.
Yes, then we can too. There's so much inspiration for that. And I think when we work together in our home, when we notice the beauty around our home, and when we find joy and purpose in those tasks that come with a home, we can find contentment.
I think that speaks to pace in the home as well, because the home, if we let it, can become the busiest beehive.
Yes, absolutely.
But to pause, as you said, and reflect on the little corners or the way the light is dancing off the window, it requires a slower pace.
It does, yeah. And it's so good for our minds to train them to notice that and to be grateful, to pause and say, wow, I'm so grateful, that's beautiful.
And the little moments in my home can bring me that joy.
Yes.
All right,
absolutely.
let's go to this season. You want us to lean into whatever season we're in.
Yes, there's something wonderful and something difficult about every season of the year and every season of life.
True.
And when we just fully embrace it for what it is and live it, then we can find contentment. My favorite mantra to say on those hard days, or the good days too, is this is the day the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Whether the kids are fighting in the car or whatever, we're just gonna embrace it.
Sometimes we say that through clenched teeth.
Yes, we do.
But we say it.
But we say it and remember.
I always giggle when I talk to my friends from Arizona because they can fight against the Utah winter.
Oh.
And I can spit right back with the Arizona summer. Oh. And you're right, just being with the good and the bad, the up and the down, being with what is, brings that feeling of settlement.
Yes. Yep. I love that.
All right, the home, the season. You also say we can feel contentment as we expand our world through learning.
Yes. I don't think we have to be, like, I wasn't a great student. I didn't love the school atmosphere, but I have loved being a learner. When we find ways to expand our minds just little by little, it doesn't need to be compared to anyone else's knowledge or skill. It's just for us. I think it brings us a lot of exhilaration. It's so exciting to learn something that you didn't know before. Some of the things I like to do is our family, we made a challenge to memorize all the state capitals. We did that a couple years ago.
Impressive.
And we had so much fun doing flashcards and learning that.
Quizzing each other.
Yeah. And then one of my personal goals was to be able to fill out a blank map of the United States with all the states. And I should have learned that in 5th grade, but I didn't. So now I know that.
I'm starting to sweat talking about it. I've actually had nightmares about being tested about that on TV. This is not a prompt or a setup. I could refresh that 5th grade lesson too, is all I'm saying.
It's good to know where things are, and it feels really good.
It does, it does. I have a sister too who spends, again, back to pace, I guess, but spends really thoughtful moments with her kids in the library. Like combing and thinking about what book they're going to bring home that week to expand this idea of curiosity and learning. And I think that intention goes so far.
It really does.
Okay, from learning to simplicity, you say contentment is found in simple moments.
Absolutely, and that goes to slowing down your life, making sure that your life is not so busy that you can't enjoy it. One of my favorite quotes is from Tolkien. He said, "It's no bad thing to celebrate a simple life." I think sometimes we forget that we don't need all this extra stuff in our lives.
Yeah.
And when we pare down and decide what matters most to us, we really find a lot of joy. I like to, that includes living on a budget joyfully and using self-control. It includes creating little traditions for yourself and for your family that you can look forward to. Have a celebrating mindset. We're going to celebrate this, even if it's just something small. And then I like to make every day feel like a vacation for just a few minutes of the day. Whether pour a lemonade, get a Dr. Pepper, whatever. And while you're drinking that, I'm on vacation. Like, that's what I think. I'm giving myself a mental rest, and I'm on vacation for just a few minutes, and then I can jump back into life.
What a good practice. What's my vacation moment? Because moms know, busy women know in general, that those chunky moments in time don't often land in our lap. But to take that mini vacation every day,
it helps me, and I think I'm a big believer in creating a life you don't need to escape from. So taking that time to just give yourself a rest really helps.
Your words are so beautiful. Lastly, and I wholeheartedly agree with this, you say service creates contentment.
Yeah, I think when we look beyond ourselves, if we're solely focused on our own problems and our own selves, we tend to spiral into discontentment.
It's true.
But when we can look outward and maybe send a text or drop by a loaf of bread or just look around and see other people. Marjorie P. Hinckley said, there's not a person you wouldn't love if you could read their story.
Yeah.
And I think as we go about our lives, we could try to read people's stories by the way they act, the things they tell us, and try to get to know them.
Cami, what would you say? I'm going to put you on the spot. What would you say to the woman who says, this sounds idyllic, this sounds lovely, but the reality of life is rush and schedules and chaos? I guess I'm hearing you say small steps can help work us toward the feeling you've described.
Absolutely. Small steps, absolutely. And I think taking ownership and realizing that this is my life and it's a gift. And I have the opportunity to make the most of it, and it's on my shoulders, and I can do this. And I think that's what makes it doable.
We can be a good steward.
A good steward of our time.
Of life. Cami, I love this. Where can we get more from you, sister?
I'm on Instagram at Camilla J. Packer.
You'll be inspired there on Instagram, just like you were here in this conversation, so we'll link you from our website. Great job. I love learning from you.